Okay, let's proceed to the Tyranid's heroes, and the first one will be Tyranid. Unfortunately, this hero is the weakest in DOW2, and there are three reasons of it. Firstly, he has no ability to counter melee units. Yes, he has pretty decent special, but it doesn't help him to win even Hormagaunts. Secondly, he can be countered by a single naked scout squad because exactly he has no bolts pistol, which is compensated by nothing, not even by damage per hit. Thirdly, his HP amount and disproportional HP regeneration. Usually tanky heroes solve this problem by getting a special armor, but Tyranid has no that option. So your hero must retreat even if you want to fight, cause you can't keep him on the field with half of HP. But all these facts don't mean that he can't be insanely strong in few matchups. At least this is the only nid hero which gives you basic sign-up right from the beginning, which allows you to escape unnecessary bleeding in your first engagement. Moreover, he has some excellent tier 1 wargears. Rending Talons is one of the strongest tier 1 melee weapons, 75 melee DPS and really strong anti-melee ability for just 20 power. Extended Carapace is the armor which you need in most cases to compensate his low speed. It gives you charge ability and also increase his health by 200. Combination of these two wargears can even win you a fight if your HT has reached level 2 and has 110 energy. Improved synapse seems more reasonable only in situations when you need your Tyranid more for countering melee units rather than ranged ones, and keep your hero behind your army. This wargear increases health of your non-synapse units by 25% and also increase Tyranid's HP by 150, but it costs 30 power, like PC Sword, like Spirit Stones, and almost like Witchblade, which seems a much more powerful upgrade in my opinion. So I find this upgrade too expensive considering how many power you need to spend in tier 1. Bioplasma is one of the best anti-range tier 1 wargears for 20 power. If you didn't want to go for Carapace or decided to go for improved synapse, Bioplasma is your best friend. Moreover, Bioplasma shot can help you to deal with melee units if you combine it with crippling poison ability and constantly let you kill additional models on retreat. Furthermore, this wargear almost one-shots a turret with its damage over time. Psychic Scream is the upgrade which I would even call fight changer. Paying 20 power, you can reduce the damage of all enemy infantry by 30%. Also, 40 energy costs lets you combine it with the charge even if your Tyranid is still level 1. Warp Shield could be even nice purchase, considering basic Tyranid has no abilities to spend his energy, but I just find previous wargears too nice to just skip them and buy dump Warp Field. In tier 2, Tyranid can get only 2 additional upgrades, but what upgrades? Crushing Claws has the highest heavy melee DPS in the whole game, 108. But it doesn't mean that these claws are the strongest melee purchase. The most important detail in hero melee weapon is not DPS, it is damage per hit, and Crushing Claws damage per hit is weaker by almost half comparing to Power Fist and Warboss Claw. Bonded Exoskeleton increases health by 300, health regeneration by 0.5 and gives you ability which makes your Tyranid invulnerable for 9 seconds. Just imagine, if you combine this armor with Crushing Claws, you literally make your hero like a fucking Volker and pay for it almost the same price, because both of these wargears cost 50 power. However, a combination of these two upgrades allows your Tyranid to win Wraith Lord face to face. Oh wait, I didn't mention his Venom cannon. I would even name it Spider-Man Free Cannon. Remember, never buy this weapon. This useless shit is just bugged, shoot 1 time per minute, has insanely low DPS against vehicle, and literally makes your hero useless against infantry. So, if you have a friend who likes this weapon, probably he also likes his balls being slammed. So, I would suggest you 3 ways How to dress your Hive Tyrant. First one. Rending Talons and Extended Carapace. In this case you have no energy to use Psychic Scream or Bioplasma, so you just leave your third slot empty. This set makes your hero insanely strong in tier 1 because Seismic Roar counters melee while Charge counters ranged ones. The second one is Psychic Scream and Extended Carapace. This set is better if you have no danger melee threat, and all what you need to do with your hero to win a fight is just charge into enemy's ranged army and debuff it. Mostly I prefer this combination cause it still allows me to get Crashing Claws in tier 2 and let my Hive Tyrant to stay danger even with Dreadnought on the field. The last one is Bioplasma and tier 2 combination for 100 power, which I told you earlier. This is the best set against Space Marine. It allows you to at least somehow counter his heavy armor units in tier 1 and deal with his Assault Dreadnought in tier 2. Broodnest Global is one of the best tier 1 globals on the maps with shot blockers. It allows you to base lock your opening in tier 1 on maps like Quest Heresy and Guerrilla Forge. Considering your red amount, Broodnest pays off even if an opponent kills it in first 5 seconds. Just treat this global as additional 500 HP to your army. Also, don't forget that Hive Tyrant's model allows you to abuse pathing, block a vehicle's movement and even prevent capping points. So, what is the problem with poor Hive Tyrant? This guy performs the task which Tyranids don't really need to be performed. Yes, he's tanking damage and helping you in push, but you already have Ravs, Burrow, Reapers and etc. Your whole army is designed to push, and you need a hero to control the map, to hold both lines, to send your army from one corner of the map to the opposite. That's the task which Hive Tyrant doesn't help you to perform, and that's why I have been picking him only on small maps. Lictor Alpha. This hero is considered one of the strongest picks in this game. He has Infiltration from the start, the highest unupgraded melee DPS, and his famous hook, which opens for you a fucking ocean of effective tricks. This ability allows you to control enemy's tanky hero, counter Su units, and literally eat units with last to die Sergeant like Shooters, Scouts, Heretics, Guardsmen, and Catachans. But mostly, the hook is your main bleeding tool. If you want to ruin enemy's echo from the start and leveling Lictor up, you should learn to fill models HP. Learn to notice how many times you hit a model and learn to press stop when you hook one to focus on it. Generally, I would advise you to hook models before a fight begins if you are not sure that you're gonna win it, and hook after a fight it is over if you are sure of your advantage to bleed extra model or even finish any unit off. Lictor Alpha has a lot of war gears, but mostly you need 4 or 5 of them. Toxin Miasma is the weapon which you buy in 9 of 10 cases. 65 melee and piercing damage over time, which make your Lictor effective even against generators and vehicle. Moreover, it reduces infantry unit speed and damage by 25%. The only matchup where you should go for feeder tendrils is Tyranid Space Marines. The first reason is that this weapon is power melee, which means that you deal fucking 80 DPS in tier 1 against TSM and ASM. The second one is that Space Marines have much more range damage comparing to Chaos Space Marines or Order Melees. So this race can easily counter your Lictor with shotguns, full auto ability and etc. And without any healing options, your Lictor will not be able to deal all his damage. I am not gonna surprise you, but Lictor has even more powerful weapon than previous ones. Skiting Talons bring you 81.25 power DPS, an excellent ability which deals damage, knocks units back, suppresses them and has only 10 seconds cooldown. So why am I so stupid and ask you to buy Toxin Miasma? Lictor Alpha is a really level depending hero, and if you want your hero to hold the line alone and be capable to smash blood letters, you need to start leveling him as soon as possible. That's why you can't wait for tier 2 to start upgrading him. Corrosive Claws. Technically, this is pretty strong weapon, cause it works like Doom ability, which makes your hero incredibly good in global fights. But if you wanna be dirty Lictor abuser, you should always keep him as far as possible from your army, so this weapon is just useless. Adrenal Glands is the armor which gives you a lot of energy and a few health points. This war gear works in 2 combinations, which I will tell you about later. Deadly Jump sounds interesting but doesn't work. Toxic Cysts, this is your must-have purchase. Paying 20 power, your makes the Lictor immortal in melee, deals 10 piercing damage to units which attack you there, and also increase your health by 100. Furthermore, this ability allows Lictor to stay on his line even with low HP, cause you can just regenerate them every 30 seconds. Pheromone. Reinforce your army and also decrease damage of enemies unit in the targeted area. This is the strongest tier 1 purchase, but usually I don't get it. As Nid, you should win tier 1 even without this upgrade, while in tier 2 you should always go for Lone Hunter. Lone Hunter. This is your must-have purchase as well as Toxic Cysts, which allows you to win all tier 2 infantry units face to face except Chosen Plague Marines and Ogrins. Menacing Visage is the reason why your opponent should never go for Seer Council, Nobs, Ogrins and other expensive melee units on all big maps. This ability just makes them useless. Also, you can swap Lone Hunter with this upgrade in late game if your opponent started sending 2 units on the Lictor's line. Therefore, I'm suggesting 3 sets for you. The first one is Toxin Miasma, Toxic Cysts and Lone Hunter. I don't need to describe why. The second one is Anti-SM set, Feeder Tendrils, Adrenal Glands, Pheromone. This combination is just making ASM useless in this matchup. Lictor has 150 energy, which allows him to use Hook and Pheromone Cloud in the same fight. The last one is Skiting Talons, Adrenal Glands, Lone Hunter. You should go for this set if you could not upgrade your Lictor in tier 1 for some reason. 150 energy allows you to use Skiting Talons 2 or even 3 times per 1 combat, and it lets you suppress and chase any enemy unit as well as get out of unbalanced fight alive. So, mostly you should use your Lictor as aggressive capper, always keep him on the enemy side and never rush with him in the vanguard. If you feel like you need him in a global fight, keep him behind your melee squads. If you are going to realize his full potential, you need to fill them up, feel where and what unit you need to meet, where and what unit you need to escape. Perfect Lictor usage is just forcing your opponent to send 2 or even 3 units to catch Lictor and be not prepared to hold your next push. Lictor Alpha. My love and my treasure. This is the most micro-intensive hero, but if it's not the problem for you to always reinforce your squads by hand and lord all blind spots for sneaky tunnels, this hero will help you to win a lot of matchups. Firstly, you should understand that even brilliant tunnel usage won't really help you in the mid and late game. When you pick Lictor Alpha, your plan is to finish the game in tier 1. Mostly the tunnel is an opportunity to get your tier 1.5 squads earlier than your opponent. Good time and place for your new tunnel guarantees you full gen bash on most maps. Exactly, the first tunnel has to be created on the left or on the right side of your base. The main task of your first tunnel is to send your Ravener as close as possible to enemy spawns and blitz some models like Warp Spider or Macboy. The combination of tunnels and Catalyst Global will allow you to suddenly kill enemies units even on high level. When you become enough experienced with the tunnel using, you are able to reinforce your injured squads right during the fight. However, you should remember that you always need one tunnel near your farm to defend it at any moment. don't look at your tunnels just like at transfer tools. You can use it to dodge doom bolts, globals, or even just kite enemies hero. By himself, Ravener is the ranged hero which can also fight in melee. He's much faster than Kainop, Tech Marine and Black Champion, which allows you to easily escape strong units like a Strike Squad and fight a less dangerous victim. I have not. I have noticed the strangest building in the galaxy. Any retard would call it OP. Ordinary human would call it useless shit, while Hero and I would call it something interesting. Paying 150 rec and 15 power, you get a ghosted tool to gen bash. Here you see two games where I could use it effectively. I am convincing you, I have only 2 games of my 1000 Lictor Alpha games. Yes, it helped me to separate enemy's army and effectively bashed his farm, but I would advise you to just ignore this thing and not waste your resources for nothing. Crippling Talons. Say goodbye to your ranged weapon as soon as you start buying upgrades. This warrior is created by Jesus. Open your notebook and write 100 damage per hit, reducing enemies' infantry damage by 40%, reducing infantry speed by 30%, reducing enemies' vehicle and super unit damage by 30%, reducing enemies' vehicle and super unit speed by 30%, and increases the Ravener health by 100. All these wells cost 100 rec and 20 power. Reinforced kiting. As soon as you get Crippling Talons, you need to go for this upgrade to get immunity to knockback, increase your health by 200 and slow enemies units nearby. What do you need to become totally happy? I think it's electric armor. Toxic Miasma upgrade increases your health by 102 and kills all light infantry units around Ravener. This is your main set in most matchups. If you don't really want to spend so much power for your hero, you can just go for Toxic Miasma and then buy similar warriors in tier 2. I mean Exit Splatter and Regenerate. These upgrades are more expensive and are in tier 2, but makes your Ravener even stronger than he could be in tier 1. Hardened Carapace is one of the best purchases against Eldar, cause it allows you to counter one of his shurikens without Raveners. Moreover, Borrow ability makes your hero unkillable in melee, because as soon as his health bar is close to 0, you can just use it and immediately press X. However, the purchase which you should always buy as fast as you reach tier 2 is Synapse Aura. Yes, it costs 40 power, but improves the damage of your army by 35%. Anyway, there are 3 upgrades which I would not advise you to buy. Borrow Chap. You always need your energy for a new tunnel, plus you need your 3rd slot for previous upgrades. Strengthened Sinew, oh my fucking god, I would better call it just Yellow Tail. Looks really funny, but of course this is trash, so let's just skip it. And finally, Corrosive Devourer. 50 power is too expensive for soft AV. Even Crippling Talon will help you more to kill a vehicle than this pew-pew toy. In tier 2, you get an opportunity to drop Raveners for 350 rec. You should never go for this extra Ravener brood if you already have one since tier 1, cause it will just destroy your economy. If you haven't, or if you lost one of your Termagants, of course you should use it, why not? Catalyst. Catalyst is very risky global, but incredibly dangerous for your opponent. Mostly you should use it on Hormagaunts, sometimes on Venom Brood. Anyway, you should be really careful with your squad and retreat with it as fast as your opponent start focusing on it. If your main threat is melee army, don't be afraid of using it on any ranged units, maybe even on Zoanthrope. Remember, the Tyranid's playstyle is unique. Your attention always has to be focused on wreck and victory points. If your opponent reached tier 2 with full gen farm and more than 300 VPs, mostly it means that you have already lost. Tyranid's economy is not designed to find in tier 2, so as long as tier 2 game goes on, Your opponent is just getting more units than you cause you pay more requisition than him. Therefore, VP's pressure is your main task in Tier 1. Without VP lead, you won't be able to finish the game off in Tier 2. If you could not become so ahead in VPs for some reason, the only way for you is just build Venom Brood and quickly jump into Tier 3. In both ways, you have to totally stomp your opponent in Tier 1, so you should spam units like Crazy Queen Bee. There are one universal build which is equally effective against all races. 2 Termagants, Spore Mines, 1 Node Plus Gen, Warriors, Raveners, 2nd Gen, upgrades, 3rd Gen. Focus on VPs until you get your full army and only then refocus on enemies' gen farm. Remember, never build additional power node even if you're floating wreck. So, how often should you pick Tyranids? What races and heroes are they created to destroy? Can a player just main them and be fine in all matchups? Briefly, no. Let's describe them from the most favorable matchup to the hardest one. Chaos Space Marines. Surprisingly, this is the easiest race to fight as Tyranids. In Tier 1, Spore Mines, upgraded hero and Crippling Poison allows you to easily counter his aspiring champion heretics. Havocs are easily countered by half-Tyrant abilities, Lictor's Hook and Ravener's Burrow. Raptors are too weak in melee. 2 Chaos Space Marines are easily countered by Barb Strangler. The only threat for you is Noise Marines and the PC with Bile Spewer, which can be just tied up by your warriors. Tier 2 is the only way for Chaos to come back, cause of powerful Globos and Bloodletter spam. Terran Guard is the most universal first Tier 2 purchase in this matchup. If you meet Bloodletter spam, the only unit which can deal with them are Raveners and Genestealers. If Chaos player has enough power to build Cage Dreadnought in addition to Bloodletters, you need Terran Guard. Use your speed and speed from Kepler Tower to dodge Noxious Cloud, Dark Flames, Globals, let the Galaxy Burn ability and etc. and then you will be fine. You will never counter Chaos Tier 3 without your own. The only way to counter, for example, Chaos Terminators is Barb's Carnifex. The only way to counter Nurgle Predator, Venom Carnifex. Any Tyranid hero is insanely strong against Chaos Space Marine, and that's why this matchup is the easiest for Tyranids. Grey Knights. This is probably the only matchup where you can fight even in Tier 2. In Tier 1 you should go for Barb Strangle to counter 2 Troopers, Operatives and Strike Squad. Purgation Squad is easily countered by your heroes. The only threat is Interceptors, but these guys are not really strong without Brother Captain's Globals and the other melee support which you can just control with Crippling Poison. In Tier 2 you can build whatever you want, but firstly I would go for Venom Brood. This race is one of the most power dependent, so you can safely stay in Tier 2 if you constantly bash his power farm. All his Tier 3 units are very expensive, so I guess in late game you will have enough time to just wait for Swarm Lord and devour his army. Space Marines. This matchup is the most controversial. Your army allows you to literally base lock him in Tier 1. Your main task is to avoid bleeding as much as possible to delay his drop pod. At the beginning you need to catch his house with Termagants and his tactical marines with Hero plus Hormagaunts. If you play Lictor Alpha, you always need your Spore Mines to hurt his TSM, because without them you just have no enough damage to deal with these fat fuckers. If you couldn't kill your opponent in Tier 1, you should just concede. 2 Plasma Tacticals and Razorback is all what the Space Marine need to smash your all-great swarm. Eldars. If anybody told you that this is the easiest matchup for Tyranids, just split in his face. Yes, if he buys only 1 Guardian Squad, Banshees, Wraith Lord, Wraith Gods, exactly, you can base lock him with closed eyes. But 3 Guardian, 2 Shuriken and Rangers if you are Lictor Alpha into Falcon is just build which you can't win as nids. Barb Strangle range is too short. Melee warrior's leap is countered with a 1-feed nade, and even 2 Raveners, 2 Termagants can't outshoot Eldar's army, cause half of your army needs to burrow and tie his shurikens up. The Falcon is just unkillable if your opponent has 2 hands. The only way to do something against it is to build 2 zone traps, protect them from warp spiders, or even rush tier 3 to get near a trap. The only way to win Eldar in this matchup, if he knows about this build, is just to pick a really dense map and try to attack him from different sides. Anyway, never build Tyranid against Eldars, and the only case to build Genestealers is to counter Autar. Technically, Reapers can help you, but Warp Spiders kill them for 3 seconds. Hive Tyrant, by the way, is just auto-lose against Eldars. Orcs, this race was not such a hard to play against before Spore Mine's nerf. Orcs are just stronger than Tyranids in range and in melee, but you could compensate it with Spore spam. Nowadays, this is the only matchup where you can't play aggressively. In Tier 1 your army is much faster than his and you have to use it as much as possible to hold the map. Even naked sluggers beat your upgraded Hormagaunts or warriors, while 2 upgraded shooter will easily outshoot your Raveners. So you must perfectly control your units if you want to stay alive in Tier 1. Use Spore Mines to separate an Orc's army. In any engagement you need to have 1 or even 2 more units. Fair fight is not about this matchup. Force him to fight your melee units with shooters and ranged ones with sluggers and storm boys. Use your warriors as a bait for his storm boys and then suddenly kill them with Hormagaunts and crippling poison. Lictor Alpha, by the way, is the best hero against these green bastards, thanks to his mobility and toxic miasma upgrade. At the beginning of Tier 2 you have no chance to win an Orc player. All what he needs to smash you is Tier 2 Nobs upgrades and War Track. That's why you always need Tyranid as your first Tier 2 purchase. It will just allow you to slow him down until you get second Tier 2 unit. Never go for Venom Brute until Storm Boys are on the field. Without support from Orcs, Tyranid will win his Death Dread, while War Truck can be destroyed by 2 zone traps with their blasts. As soon as you reach Tier 3, it becomes your turn to come back. It seems like all Tier 3 units are created to counter Orcs. Even 1 Neurotrope can already counter all his infantry. Just imagine when your Barb Strangle can do with him if there is no loot tank on the field. Imperial God. This is matchup where you completely has no chance if your opponent doesn't make a billion of mistakes. Catachans and Sentinels are the units which were designed to counter Orcs and Tyranids. If he goes for 2 Guardsmen, 2 Sentinels and Catachans, you need to type Soundbug and then delete him from your friend list. If you don't go for Raveners, his Sentinel will kill your army alone. If you don't go for Warriors, he will blow up your mom's home. Spore Mines are almost useless against IG because of Stomp, of Sentinel and his heroes. If you have at least 10% to win as a Hive Tyrant or Lictor Alpha, you have minus 10% as Lictor Alpha. Okay, let's imagine if he went for a classic build with 1 Sentinel and 1 Catachans. Just try to split from Launcher and then focus these Rambos down with Barb Strangle. And of course other weapons. Also you can try to use Burrow Strike to suddenly prevent Sentinels repairing and then finish it off. You have to kill Sentinel in this matchup, because his Tier 2 Missile Launcher destroy all your roster. Okay, let's imagine again if you even won early game. In Tier 2 you always meet Chimera. How to counter it? No way. So you should just ignore it and focus on anti-infantry counters. So you need to zone traps, I guess. Yes, Guardsmen are almost immortal under Chimera, but after 100 kills he will start killing his economy. At least I hope he will. Yes, 2 zone traps can be killed by execution of Lord Commissar, by judgment of Inquisitor, but you still have a chance to keep them alive with your brilliant micro. In fact, never try to retreat when you see execution animation, cause your warp shield is the only way to save your flying brains. Never buy zone tropes against Lord General. His sniper rifle ability in addition to stormtroopers will just kill them from a mile away. Even if a G player has no chance for a whole game, he can just base lock you with 2 guardsmen and 2 troopers under high mirror. Tier 3 is your single salvation. If you could jump into Tier 3 while your opponent stayed in Tier 2, you can even win this matchup. Tyranid Globals. The first general Tier 2 global is Infestation. This is your main spending of reds. Increasing speed, melee and sight range are buffs that you get if you always remember to build these towers. Use this global every time and everywhere and spam Reapers. Also, this tower lets you get spore mines to suddenly explode them right in the center of enemy's army, or quickly kill your enemy in the garrison. Without Number is the Tier 3 global, which allows you to drop full upgraded Termagants and Hormagants for 300 rec and 200 red, which can be insanely useful in super late game when both of players have not a lot of infantry squads to camp BPs. In addition, this global instantly reinforces all your army for free. It can be even cheaper to drop these 2 additional units than reinforce your army on the base. And that's not all, because sometimes you can use this global like this. Oh wait, I forgot about Tyranid formation. Tyranid formation is the worst nuke in this game. All what you should expect from it is just force 1 or 2 units to retreat. Okay, finally we are really close to the end. So, Tyranids is the race which is really strong against Chaos, Grey Knights, inexperienced eldars and has a big chance to win Space Marine in early game. It has real weaknesses in the person of APC vehicles and Tier 2 at all, but at the same time their Tier 1 and Tier 3 are very strong. However, the main problem is not a weak hero or some weak units, it is the lack of different builds and unusual strategies. Your army doesn't let you to just fool your opponent in Earth Tier 2, cause you have no vehicle there. Your economy doesn't let you build 4 gens to go after Sneaky Thatcher. When you play Tyranids, you feel yourself like a brainless swarm whose only strategy is to push, to devour, and to make one more mob the property of the hive. But isn't it the style unique and incredible? It was 1v1 Tyranid guide by Crysis. Top it out.